Good afternoon. Welcome to Entrepreneurial Live Interviews with Connie Fuchsa. And I started the interview series because I wanted you guys to see that there's millions of people out there that saw something that was necessary to make our world better. And it was either a service or it's a widget or it's an opportunity that they took advantage of something, they felt really passionate about it, and they decided to change our world as we know it. And so I've met some really cool and amazing people. And the lady I'm interviewing today is no exception to this. Absolutely amazing. Our off interview conversation was truly one of my favorites. And I can't wait to introduce you guys today to Sarah Justice. Sarah, thank you so much for being with me.
Hey, thanks for having me today.
Absolutely. I am so thrilled to share your story. So what we do on Entrepreneurial Live Interviews, guys, is share stories about people that saw these things, saw a vision, saw an opportunity, saw something that needed to be changed and decided to do it. And so we're sharing their business, their opportunity, how they got to where they are, so you can all see that it isn't some magical thing that drops out and blesses someone. What it is someone's passion turned into a business. And Sarah, I want you to share with us all about you. Tell us who you are, how you got to where you are, and what you're doing right now.
Okay, well, I can start with where I am now, or I can start from the beginning. So let's go ahead and start from the beginning. I am a traditionally trained graphic designer. I hail from the great, wonderful state of Michigan, which is completely different from where I am now. Now I'm in Jacksonville, Florida with my husband. I did go to school for graphic design. I have a degree in visual communications, which is perfect because that's where I'm kind of at now. I did all the normal, graduating college things. I was lucky. I got a job right out of college as a graphic designer. Worked my way up through the publishing industry. So in graphic design, generally you have different areas that you're going to work in. So with me, it was print publications, mostly directories. And I did that for 12 years, working my way up to being an art director. So I was able to not only design, but I had a crew of minions underneath me that I was able to direct them on their different design endeavors. And it was all pretty cool. But the problem with having like a 9-to-5 is you don't always get to choose the creative outlets that you do. And I started getting bored. 12 years, you start getting a little bit bored what you're doing. And I had an opportunity that came up where somebody said, look, I'm launching a brand new magazine. This is like glossy magazine, with all the fun creatives. And she's like, do you want to be the creative director? You're in charge of everything. You can choose your staff. You can do whatever you want to do. I'm like, oh, yes. And then she told me, what the pay was going to be, and I would be a freelancer. I'm in charge myself, and I had to take the offer, so I took a leap, and I decided to go ahead and leave my 9-to-5, and everything was great for about a year. And as things happen with, she was a new business owner too. She had some family crisis, and she had to shut it all down, and I found myself in a position where I was just kind of out on my own as a freelancer, and I didn't know how to market myself.
Right.
It's one of those things. Graphic designers are trained how to do jobs. We're given like a sheet. This is what we want you to do. Be creative, have fun, do it. But we're not really taught, how to go out and how to find customers, how to do the normal things that you do as a business owner, and all of that. So I was trapped kind of like a deer in headlights, not knowing what to do. So I kind of fumbled and bumbled around for a while, picked up new skills. I learned how to do web design. I learned how to do a little bit more in the different print areas, and found that I really liked doing, logo design and stuff like that, but I was still having a struggle finding clients. And I was like, I need to try this networking thing that everybody talks about. We're supposed to get out and network. Well, that's fine and great unless you're an introvert and you really don't want to go out and network. But I did. I made myself do it. I found out that nobody was going to kill and eat me. So that was a big win. And I still have to say I'm enjoying this new virtual world we're in because it is a little bit more comfortable for an introvert. But I was finding that I'm networking, but the people I'm networking with, they really didn't have answers on how to find customers and clients either. So I'm networking with people, I'm meeting people, I'm hearing their stories, I'm learning what a wide, wonderful world of business owners there are. So that was amazing. I got to meet all these people, but I wasn't getting the answers I needed. And I started, there was a couple of like coaches in the group. And so I followed a couple of them and I was like, okay, what is this coaching thing all about? And through a few different connections, I found a business and mindset coach, which kind of set me on the path that I'm on now. I was given like a business accelerator, like a primer on, okay, this is what you need to do. So it was almost like getting an MBA, but fast tracked, because that's the whole point of having a coach is you get fast tracked in everything that you're doing. So I started realizing that everything that I was being taught was based on brand strategy. I was like, oh, this is good. I'm really liking this. This ties into what I do. And I'm like, So I followed along my path with the coach, worked on my mindset, so I could actually do presentations from stage, from introvert to being able to teach on stage. That's actually small stages. Well, I'm not talking big stages either. So 30 people here.
It's a stage.
It's still a stage, but I went from introvert to being able to present. I'm on an interview right now that's saying something. But with this whole idea of brand strategy, I was like, well, okay, there's something here. So I really, really started diving into it, absorbing everything I could, reading everything I could, and made the realization that brand strategy is the key to success, period. Anything else you do in your business is going to go back to your brand strategy. It needs to be right there with your business plan. Because anything you're going to do with your marketing is going to go back to it. If you're hiring employees, it's going to go back to it. And so I took this knowledge and I'm still networking with people, and I start talking with them and I start telling them about brand strategy just in my normal workings, along with any little freelance gigs. Everybody starts getting like bonus brand strategy because I had to tell the world. And it was really kind of sinking in, and they started seeing the value in it. And that kind of leads where I am now. I'm a brand strategist and graphic designers. My passion is to help mission-driven entrepreneurs and business owners. I want the ones that really have a deep-seated why. I want the ones that want to serve and to help others. And so that this little introvert can help more people just by working with the entrepreneurs and the small business owners. I did breathe. I did breathe and all that.
Yeah, that was fantastic. I mean, I have so many questions. I love all those details. But first, I want you to share with us how you go from brand strategist to tell us about your name of your business.
Okay. The name of my business is Kind of Wonderful. And yes, there's a story to that too. One of the flaws, if you say that designers have flaws, is we like lots of shiny objects and we like to be creative and we can't choose things because everything's so awesome. So my husband was quizzing me on, okay, so let's come up with some words that describe what you do. And we're like doing this for like hours and I'm not really coming up with anything. And I got frustrated. And he's like, well, what is it about brand strategy that you love so much? I'm like, I don't know. It's just Kind of Wonderful.
I love it.
There it is. Because it is.
I love it.
It's kind of wonderful that I get to work with people. I get to hear their stories. It's kind of wonderful that it will help them with every aspect of their business. And it's kind of wonderful that I still get to play with all the colors and all the shiny bits because it still goes into touch points, which is graphic design.
I love it. I love it. Well, gosh, Sarah, it's such a story. I mean, this is so cool. You said to me earlier, well, it's not that much of a story. And that's totally not true because just watching your face and listening to your voice as you discovered what was so important to you is just so much fun to watch. I really enjoyed that. So let's go back a little bit since we're talking entrepreneur first. Let's go back a little bit and talk about that. Coming out of college, I mean, I hear this story so frequently with people, go to college for what you think you're supposed to. I mean, that's what society teaches us. Go to college, get your degree, come out, get a corporate America job. And you did that for a while. And then you said, this is just not for me. So then you met someone who said, hey, I have this great opportunity. I really want you to work for me. And you went to work for her and you really were happy there. You thought, oh gosh, that's great. but it didn't work out. And so the reason I wanted to bring that up and I wanted to hit on that a little bit is because I think all of us get the come out of, do the come out of college, go get the corporate job kind of thing, because it's security. It's that safety net. And one thing entrepreneurs will teach all of us is there's no such thing as a safety net. Just when we think we've got it all figured out, that net gets a big hole in it and you better be holding on for dear life. So talk to us a little bit about that, because you went from that corporate world to working for someone, an individual who started a business. You were super excited about it. It was a great opportunity. And then that hole got created in that net and you had to figure out what to do next. And you decided, instead of going back to corporate America, that you were going to open your own business. Talk to us about that for a minute, because that's a big step.
Well, I'd always been kind of freelancing on the side. Most designers, if you talk to them, they always have a little bit on the side. So I had the ability to manage myself. I managed others. So I felt, hey, I can do this, because I was naive. Because I was used to people just giving me jobs all the time. But I was naive in the fact of thinking that, oh, they're just going to magically show up. Because I did what a lot of business owners do and entrepreneurs do, is I put up my fancy shingle. My website was on point. Hello, I'm a graphic designer. So my website was gorgeous. Everything was perfect. And then, if you build it, they will come.
Of course.
They don't come. They don't come. That's where that strategy comes in. You have to have some sort of strategy so that you know what words to use that will draw them in. And the same thing when you go out and network. And I didn't know any of this. But
I love it. So then you decided, you said, okay, I don't know how to market. I don't know what to do. I'm going to go to networking meetings. And that's where it's at. That's what everybody tells me. Go to networking, you'll get business. So you go to networking, and I love this story that you bring this up, because I swear this is the thing that everybody always says. You got to go to networking. You belong to 85,000 networkings. I mean, God, I think right now we're all so sick of how easy it is to network online too. Yeah. Zoom network. Everybody you talk to on the phone wants to get on a Zoom. And I'm like, no, I don't want to see you. I just want to talk to you for a minute. I don't have to have my makeup done. I don't have to be in my dress, right? And but I'm relating to you. Like, really, that's what happens is you got into business and somebody says, you got to go to networking meetings. And then all of a sudden you realize you belong to 10 different groups. And how in the world are you ever going to fit in your business when you do all this stuff? Yeah. So you figured out, going to networking meetings, you met a lot of really cool people, but this wasn't where you needed to be able to get your business off the ground. So talk to me a little bit about that, because somewhere in there you said, all right, I have this realization. I know I've got to make some changes. I know I've got a strategy. Talk to me about what that even means. Talk us through this a little bit, how you had that realization and what it looked like. Sorry, something sticking in the eye.
I'm doing that when I was going to all the networking meetings. I found I liked talking to coaches, because they were able to pick out the fact that I had mindset issues. Part of it was the feeling that I'm socially awkward and not being able to network correctly. I felt like I wasn't networking correctly because it wasn't working. And when I was following through with the coaches, I actually hired one. I hired a business and mindset coach, which gave me that little, primer for, marketing myself. And it was in there that I determined the brand strategy was the key to everything.
Nice. One thing I like about you talking about coaches too is I talk about this a lot, because, when somebody says, oh, I'm a coach, you could be a coach of anything. I mean, you could coach a high school football team. You could, coach people in gymnastics. You could, be a coach in business. You could be a health and wellness coach. That's such a universal term. But when you're talking about a coach, you're more talking about someone that is going to take you under their wing. It's a mentoring thing, and they're going to help you with experiences they've had on how they were able to grow based on experiences they had. And really, this is, a one-on-one or one on a group saying, hey, I'm sitting here, I'm going to share with you, here's all the things that I did, good and bad, that made a pivotal spot in my change in my business.
Yes.
Yeah. I love this. So talk a little bit about that mindset, because that's what I don't think that people really get is, people get in this and think, oh, I'm so excited about my business and I know what I'm going to do and I'm doing it and it's all great. boom, nothing happens. No one calls, no one knocks on the door. And then all of a sudden you lose all your confidence. And instead of going back to, that passion, so you don't know how to control the ups and downs of where your mind goes. So talk to us a little bit about that mindset, because this is a very important fact in entrepreneurship.
Well, there's probably different schools of thought for mindset. For me, mindset is, we all have mindset issues, but like some of my particular triggers as being vulnerable, perfectionism. So I feel I have to look and behave a certain way. So I wouldn't get my marketing out because I felt that it wasn't perfect and it didn't reflect correctly on me. So I would just, nothing was ever getting out there. I wasn't promoting myself because I was stuck in this perfectionism loop. Another one is imposter syndrome. Feeling that
big one.
Feeling that you're not who you say you are. So then you're not putting things out. So you end up self-sabotaging. So you have to get through that. And the mindset that processes that I worked on is you're listening for what they call unintelligent thinking. So the thoughts in your head are not your thoughts. So you can be sitting there in a quiet room and all of a sudden you will hear something, oh, you suck at that. Why are you doing that? And it's not your thought. It's just some random firing of your brain, but you have to catch these things and you have to put them in place. You need to speak them. And when you do that,
concepts, you think, oh, that was only your thoughts, but imposter syndrome is huge. I was reading an article, listening to a podcast, I don't remember which, about a month ago, and it was comparing imposter syndrome with these huge giants of people that we know and love. But Oprah is one of the biggest one of the most famous names that right now that experienced this over and over and over and over again before she ever got anywhere near this, about how she constantly beat herself up like, you're not good enough to do this. There's no way you can be on TV. There's no way you can write a book. There's no way you can do this. They're not talking about me. They're confused because that's not me. And she went through years and years of self-doubt and in that imposter syndrome. And guys, when you're listening to this, when we talk about imposter syndrome, it's you think that you're not really the person that everybody seems to think you are. So you have to be an imposter. That's where the concept comes from. And so because of it, even though you come across as this person who's got it all together, and particularly in today's world and social media, you're back here saying to yourself, no, this isn't you. You can't do this. You're not allowed to do this. So one of the things I love about this conversation that we're having, Sarah, is that you clearly are talking about vulnerabilities that everybody has. And in the entrepreneurial world, one of the biggest problems all of us have is thinking that we should know it and we should figure it out, but we don't know who to ask when we can't figure it out. And we're afraid to because, then we might reveal a vulnerability. And your perfectionism is so typical as well. I mean, I felt, in my previous world, I used to own a business that relied on the details being perfect. And so because of it, everything that I do, like you said, websites or articles or information, I mean, it could take me months to write an article. Ask me to do something for a periodical, because I just got to go back and read it and read it. So I totally get that. And so I think it's so appreciative that you are so vulnerable enough to share these very specific details, because they're so common. Everybody has this stuff and it's talked about so frequently. So I appreciate you sharing that, because I know that can be a little bit tough, because as entrepreneurs, we're all trying to make it look perfect on the outside. So the fact that you're sharing it makes it a little difficult, and I appreciate you doing that. So talk to me, before we get into your actual business, let's talk to me a little bit about steps you went through as you were building that business that you really didn't know that you needed to know. And not just these things like the networking, but obviously there's all kinds of other pieces that you had to do starting a business, and you saw another business crash and you still went through some of this. So talk to us a little bit about some of those struggles and some things that you came across that you went, oh crap, I never knew we had to know how to do that.
Well, luckily things are a lot easier online. All you have to do is Google nowadays, and you can find out exactly, like for me, I'm in the state of Florida, so you can look up what's required to launch a business in the state of Florida. We also have resources like Small Business Administration, SBA.
Yeah.
But they have free mentors there. So there's just resources everywhere. So if you look, you can find them. So I was okay with that. I think my biggest struggle was accounting. Honestly, I didn't want to do the books. I tried to have my husband do the books. He didn't want to do the books either. So I decided to hire somebody. It's one of those things as a business owner, do the stuff that you can do and hire people to do the stuff that really is not your thing or is going to drain your energy. So I think that would be one of those business things. Trying to think of other things that I might have messed up. Oh yeah, when you do your DBA, you are supposed to tell the newspapers about it. Yeah.
How did that go? Talk to us about that for a second.
I didn't get in trouble about it. It was just one of those things you do. The easy way, you do it all online. So you do it online. And there's a little check mark saying, oh, I did this. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to check the box anyway. And I find out later, my accountant asked me, so did you do this filing for the DBA with the newspaper? I was like, oops. And she's like, well, it's like 3 years past. Don't worry about it now.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's so funny how you find out from other professionals these kinds of things. And that's why I asked you to share, some of those experiences, because sometimes people are like, well, I don't know. I'm going to do it all. Like you talked about with the accounting, I'm going to do it all myself because I just can't afford to hire somebody else. But you have to realize that your time is more valuable than what you think you can afford to hire somebody else for. If your specialty is, making things kind of wonderful for everybody and making that, beautiful look and design and setting that strategy up, you're certainly not in the legal ramification or the legal world or the accounting world. And if you recognize it, you're a step ahead of the game. So that's really important. I appreciate you sharing that. But all right, so let's talk a little bit. Let's go into a little bit of detail about what brand strategy, what do you do? What does that even mean?
Well, brand strategy, it is really getting clear on who you are as a business, because your business needs to act like a human being. And most businesses, they just go, oh, I'm here to sell things. And no, that doesn't quite work, because people want to buy from people. So you need to present your business as a human. So if you think about it, your brand strategy or your brand is the heart and soul. And then your branding, the things that you do when you're connecting with customers, is the body that takes it out into the world.
Wow, how cool is that? That gave it a real visual. I'm a very visual person. So you tell me how to get somewhere and you tell me to turn right by the McDonald's and go down 2 miles and turn left by the hospital, then I'm perfect. But if you tell me all the road numbers and things, I'm not. That was a great analogy, because I can see it. Like I can see what it all looks like. That was really cool. Thank you. That was neat. So, as my brand gets out into the world, you help me figure out what the words are I'm supposed to be saying about my brand, but then you also make it look pretty so that my brand has a body. So it looks beautiful. And then when somebody sees it, they recognize the body, and then they see the words and they recognize the human side of it and hearing the words. Absolutely. Bingo. Very nice. Very nice. Sarah, as you have gone through your business experiences, tell us something like your go-to piece of advice that you would share with somebody else if they were going through the struggle of figuring out, should I start my own business? Should I do this myself? What happens if I run into a mud puddle? What's your go-to piece?
Well, I was told it's best to look at what's around you. So there's a few pieces floating around here. I'm going to choose. Should I choose the funny one, or should I choose the...
You choose what you want. We have some time. I would love little pieces of each of it.
Well, I have a lot of Danielle Della Porta, or La Porta. I have her little cards, but I have a few of them like stuck up. But one of them is Thinking Magic, because I like to believe that the world that we live in, there is something awesome and magical about it, and we being part of it, we can think in that way. So always tap into your creativity. So I have that one there. And then I have love.
That's really interesting. I wouldn't, when you said that, Thinking Magic, I'm thinking, where does that go? But wow, that's really cool. Thank you. That is, you're absolutely right. Our world does have, the embodiment of that magic is all the entrepreneurs in the world that constantly see something and say, I'm going to make a pink cap for that pen, or I'm going to, the world needs this, and so that's the embodiment of that. So thank you for sharing that. That's really cool. Give us
another one. Love the necessary hard work.
Oh, very nice.
That's right underneath it. So they're almost like yin and yang.
Yeah, for sure. So you talked a little bit about SBAs and mentors. And I want to hit back on that for just a second, because I think that's so important. We talked about mentors earlier, but one thing people don't realize, one, Google, lots of resources, of course, but also locally, the federal government supplies all kinds of tools to business owners throughout the state and throughout the country. Each state has their own branch of SBA. And honestly, not only in most states, but also in counties, there's branches of the SBA. And the SBA is Small Business Administration. And they have little smaller pockets of that where they teach stuff for free. They teach free classes. You really don't need a whole lot to do it. They have people that will help you set up businesses. They'll help you find business people to help you. They'll hook you up with mentors. And the people that are teaching the classes are business people in that community that want to help other people. So it's a beautiful thing in that you're meeting business people that are teaching for free all of the knowledge that they've learned throughout their business experience. So it's a great resource to always look up. And I know when I had my brick and mortar business in our community, not only was there the SBA, but there was the Small Business Development Center, which helped you develop skills that you needed as you started business, but also as you went through business. And it was a division of the SBA. So I love that you brought that up, because that's such a, our tax dollars at work, really helping small business owners find the tools and the resources they need to make sure that they're doing things the right way.
Oh yeah, big resource, big resource. I still get all emails of the different events they have. And if they have a new training that I'm interested in, you pop on in.
Yeah. And you guys, you can sign up for these things online, and then you can find your local businesses locally. I know in my previous life, I used to teach a lot of classes at the SBA because I had my own business for 30 years. So I was interested in sharing, and it was for no other reason than to help other business owners for the same thing. So it's real business people out there helping other business people start up, get through some of these things that we talk about all the time on our series. So Sarah, if somebody wants to get in touch with you after today, how can they do that?
Easiest way is to catch me on my website. So that is www.kinda, wonderful.com. And I'm on all the social medias, which is the same thing, Kinda Wonderful, except for Twitter and Instagram wouldn't let me have my names. So they're it's Kinda Wonder FL.
Oh, goodness. We were talking about this online, social media regulating our life. It's a necessary good thing with its own evil thrown into it, because there's a lot of control there going on. Great. Sarah, do you have anything going on or something you want to share with us that, people listening might want to know more about, an activity, a class, a training, or something, a nonprofit that you work with, something that you might want to share that we all need to know about?
I don't have much going on. It's more vulnerability. I started a content marketing course right when COVID hit. And I lost the urge to launch it, if you know what I mean. And I'm going to be bringing that back probably in the next month. And it has a content calendar.
In touch with you.
Yeah. So just if they go to my website, I'll have a blog announcement saying that it's live, and they just follow the links. I also have an amazing brand assessment. It's like a brand audit. It's a free download they can get from my website. And it goes through and tells you all the possible touch points that you might have with your business. And then it has a little quiz up in front that once you do that, you can make sure your touch points are matching who you are as a brand.
Excellent. That's exactly what I was hoping that you throw in there, because you obviously have plenty of good resources on your website. So that's perfect. That's a great place for somebody to start, so they can figure out what they need and, then get in touch with you and make that grow into the magical thing that their brand is, that body and soul and mind that that brand is. So Sarah, it has been absolutely phenomenal talking to you today. Excuse me. Allergies at work, guys.
I know. My eye's been twitching the whole time. So if anybody sees that, I'm not having a seizure. It's just an eye twitch.
Doesn't look like it. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning into Entrepreneurial Live Interviews. It has been my honor to have Sarah Justice. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me. I hope your allergies are better.
Guys, we're live on Facebook and YouTube, and we're going to post the video on LinkedIn as soon as we're done. I'm tuning out.
All right, bye.